Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this narration of the web series Very Clever Primates, taken from Reddit with the author's approval. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 7. Save you? Quite so. And how do you propose we do that, Doctor? My eyes fluttered for a moment as I felt myself lean forward in exhaustion. It had been a full rotation since we made contact with the General and his forces. I was stunned at this human's endurance. Humans seemed to be far better and keeping them alert with little sleep than the Valan were. Were it not for him engaging me directly, I may have met the same fate as 3 of the 5 soldiers alongside me, each one laying their head down on the desk, resting. Ska'ana also seemed to have fallen prey to exhaustion, barely able to shake her soldiers awake during this trying time. I don't think she was expecting us to be sitting around talking for a full rotation. This mission was simple, but humans were not. I used my forearms to rub my eyes to prevent them from sealing shut while in discussions with the General. He needed answers to what my plan would be. In truth, my plan mattered very little. It was somewhat surprising the General was so receptive to talking to me and listening to my plans regarding his species. I was a biologist. I had no military, diplomatic, or cultural experience amongst my own kind, let alone an entirely different species. Was it all because I took the same? You know, General, I said, clearing my throat, before I go into detail, why did you wish to speak to me? Did we not have enough diplomats to meet you? I asked, the General somewhat taken aback by my comment. You were the one who took the sample and studied it, weren't you? He asked, lifting one of his furrowed eyebrows in a puzzled expression. Why wouldn't I talk to the one who knew the most about us? Why wouldn't I talk to the one who knew all of our weaknesses? I wobbled for a moment. Did he say their weaknesses? I was exhausted, under the mercy of Earth's gravity, and growing increasingly bored with the constant planning. But something about what he said seemed to throw me off. Something about what he said seemed so very strange. My tired eyes formed into a squint, purple irises gazing in on his somewhat wrinkled face. I had no reason to mistrust the General, but I had many reasons to dislike him. This taste mixes with distrust quite well, I'm afraid, and I found my brain quickly making excuses to further question him about what was spoken. What makes you think that I even remotely considered your weaknesses? I asked, leaning forward to place my chin on my palms, claws resting on the scales of my face, scales changing to a dull orange. The General grew a smirk, giving a faint laugh. It is my job to be paranoid, Doctor, he said, nodding in self-reassurance. I'm getting a bit sloppy in my age, but I still can assume the worst in most situations, he stated. There it was again, assuming the worst. I started to grow far more irritated. No, this General's question about my plan could wait. I found my exhausted state granting me bravery I did not have before. You assume the worst in most things, your own species included, I asked, growing increasingly more agitated. What makes you so bitter, General? What makes you so quick to mistrust? More, he stated plainly, his furry grey upper eye furrowing into his expression of irritation. Like I said, people will do anything to anyone if they're cornered and back against the wall. Humans are especially guilty of this, he said, taking in a swift breath through his nostrils. Fight on the few war fronts and you'll see what I mean. It's every man for himself. I audibly groaned, rubbing my face. Every man for himself. You keep saying that as if it's a concrete truth. Without your troops, your scientists, or your commanders, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair. You cooperate every day, I said, dropping my hands to the table and simply looking at the man. I'm sorry. I thought we were starting to get to know the way things were on this world here. Do I need to show you what's happening outside again, It's chaos out there, and all those scientists, commanders, and troops are paid in both respect and resources to do their work. Take away either and they'd quit, he said. My scales fluctuated between red and orange. Things slowly started to become clearer, the more tired and the farther away from my bed I became. That won't be necessary, but maybe I should see the world for myself, General, I said, my tone dripping with accusation. If this general wanted to prove his point, maybe I should see the world with my own eyes before I started. As Skaresh would say, playing as the gods. Why was I being held so far underground? Why was the general smoking that foul roll of dried plants in a closed space? Why was he only showing me, whenever he displayed something on those monitors, the chaos outside? It was at that moment that I realized the general was trying to warp my view of humanity. The general was actively trying to convince me, from the moment we met face to face, his views were correct. He was playing me. I said it once, and I'll say it again. Humans are very clever. My scales quickly shifted from the orange-red hue of irritation to a bright green tone. Panic struck me quite quickly. Skaana noticed my changing color, her own drowsiness subsiding and her attention being drawn back to the human general once again. The general narrowed his eyes at me, that chipper smile slowly fading away. "You'll be killed out there. I promise you there'll be some maniac that wants to see you dead," he said, his tone grim. "I will take that risk," I replied, swallowing down my nose. "I am not taking that risk. You die and there's a war we won't win," he replied. "Just tell me that plan you were thinking up, Doctor, and we'll get to work here, where it's safe." "I am not saying anything until I discuss it with my leaders first. You'll need to cooperate. The longer we wait, the more damage is done. Tell me what you were thinking up, or I'll get someone to make you tell me," he said. "Oh dear." "Skaana," I muttered, the warrior needing no further instruction as she grinned down at the general, her scales turning a bright orange-blue. "It's about time, Lan. Tell me when," she said in a low tone. Oh, how quickly things turned. When once there were peaceful talks, the very slightest hint of mistrust made it all crumble apart. Except there wasn't any trust. It was just a man taking advantage of a peaceful race to get what he wanted. If he truly believed what he said was objectively true, I would have been escorted out, or at the very least kept somewhere besides some underground bunker. We played right into the general's hands. Every single Valan. The general took in a breath to say something, but a sudden rumble in the bunker made everyone in the room a lot less focused on the rising tensions. The general looked around, quickly rising up, looking around to his men. "What the hell is going on? Report!" he barked out. The soldier quickly ran up, his face pale, his eyes wide, and his legs trembling. He nearly collapsed under his own weight. The general gripped him by the fatigues and looked at the scared man straight in the eyes. "Report, damn it! Can't be an earthquake, so tell me what the hell is going on!" The soldier took in a quick breath. The whole room fell silent. Sir, turn on the news." The general scowled, grabbing the remote, and turned on the monitor that he'd showed me earlier. That's when we saw it. It was the pride and joy of the Valan people. The grand chariot, the bringer of civilization, cradle of Valar. It was the high command of Valar in a spherical ship the size of the fourth red planet, right beside Earth's moon. I thanked the gods that the ship had state-of-the-art grav suppressors so that no orbits were thrown out of alignment. To these cosmic bodies, such a grand vessel wouldn't have even been felt. It was the pinnacle of Valan spacefaring engineering. Such a grand display would only have been meant one thing, and that one thing made my scales grow bright yellow. "You will release our people, and we will talk!" A booming, resounding voice echoed through the communication device in my coat. The general slowly turning to look at me, horror and rage in his eyes. I raised my hands, the sleeve of my coat falling slightly to reveal the sigil on it that linked to my comlink's broadcasting feature. "Not clear enough, General." End of chapter. This is a special thank you to the one, the only, the legendary Eric Hino, who has become the only Tier 6 patron. I just want to thank the T5 patrons and channel members. Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Australia the Dreamer, Try Again 95, Fudic Yol, Meridian 117, Elysia, Jordan Bucksbaum, Angry Marine, Albarden Gusta, and Barkey. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.